It's time to focus on seniors with Helping Seniors TV. The television show designed to make you aware of senior issues and needs, as well as to acquaint you with the resources available to help you age in place and with dignity. Now, here's your host, Joe Steckler.
I'm Joe Steckler, and welcome to Helping Seniors, the television arm of Helping Seniors of Brevard County. Our show is designed to provide you with information on how to develop your own aging and care plans. Our topic today is Hometown News. Yeah, that's right. Hometown News, our local weekly newspaper. And joining me today is Amanda Anderson, staff writer for Hometown News. Welcome, Amanda.
Hi, Joe. Thank you so much for having me today.
Well, and all the television shows I've done, interviews I've done, well over 400 TV shows, I've never had a reporter on the show.
Well, this is my first time being interviewed, too.
That's the first one.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll feel like I'm being interviewed at times here.
That's okay. We can do this together.
Okay, that's great. But I think it's important, Amanda, for people to know about local weekly papers. Mm-hmm. We're having so many problems with the newspaper industry in our country. We've had it for years. Mm-hmm. But I sense that Hometown News is growing.
Our distribution in Brevard County is 60,000 people. We are a free weekly newspaper that is delivered every Friday. In the state of Florida, however, we are the largest single-day newspaper, reaching 200,000 subscribers. We serve St. Lucie County, Martin County, Volusia County, and Indian River County, as well as Brevard.
You're the largest single weekly paper in Florida?
The largest single-day newspaper in the state.
Single-day newspaper?
Yes.
That means 1 day a week?
1 day a week.
Do you publish different days or the same day?
Every Friday.
Every Friday?
Every Friday. Unless there's a holiday, and then we do an early publication, so that would put us out on the street on Wednesday.
Yeah, because you have to ask me for my column early then.
Yeah.
I feel very privileged to have a column in Hometown News. I really do.
Well, we're very honored to have you in our paper.
You gave me years ago when Hometown News was fairly new. Mm-hmm. If you go back and look, there's almost a whole page interview of me.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to look.
It has to do with all the good things that nonprofit organizations do in Brevard County. Too often, the story of good organizations that can help people is not told. Mm-hmm. And I swear I place such a great value on the worth of Hometown News to the dissemination of information.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Now, why did you become a reporter?
I became a reporter more so by chance. I graduated from the University of Central Florida in December 2011, and I majored in English with a focus in creative writing. So before I became a reporter, I actually wrote a lot of copy for television commercials, radio ads, websites, different things like that. But one of my best friends, Tammy Farmer, who is the editor at Hometown News, gave me the opportunity to become a freelancer. And after freelancing for several months, there was a position open, and she brought me in for an interview, and I filled that slot. It's been a real privilege ever since. I really enjoy it. I guess I got the reporting bug, though, back in college when I took a magazine writing class, and I had to do a lot of reporting for assignments. So that really kind of gave me the drive to go into that line of work.
I read a lot. I read all kinds of books. Mm-hmm. How do you go about getting your stories? Do you get assigned to cover something, or you?
It depends. I'm lucky after 3 years at Hometown News to have established relationships with all sorts of people throughout the county. So I receive a lot of press releases. Sometimes I get story ideas from my friends. I just kind of check things out, but sometimes Tammy does assign us stories. Every week we meet with her and we present our budget for the week. And from there, she kind of gives us her opinion on which way we should maybe cater the story. And from there, we go into the field and do all of our interviews and get the stories done.
I know that newspapers, like nonprofit organizations, have to be extremely careful in how they do things. You can do things that will destroy relationships.
Of course.
And that's what I think is clearly one of the dumbest things anybody can do. If you got something good going, why purposely go out and ruin it? Why not figure out a way to build on a relationship that you have? So, you know, Tammy, when she asked me in my column if I could concentrate on all the many wonderful organizations we have in Brevard County that help people. We did a survey. We formed an advocacy council for helping seniors, and roughly 40-some people went on this panel. And we developed a survey, and we sent a survey all throughout the county. We didn't have the resources to, and I probably should have contacted Hometown News at the time. We're going to do it again. I will contact Hometown News this time, because it's important that the county commissioners know what the people think.
Of course.
It's one thing to take a select group of 12 or 14 or 15 people and say, oh, this is what I think a senior needs. But go to the seniors themselves. I think you'll be very, very surprised in what they think they need. The result of our survey, we've got it all tabulated. 2 most emerging needs were information and financial help. Information we can do. We do this through Hometown News, 5 other periodicals, this television show, which is now, once our show is completed, we'll go on to national YouTube, be worldwide. People can look, you can tell your friends, oh, in New York, you can call somebody and say, hey, look, I was on this television show with Joe Steckler, and we talked about Hometown News. See what we did. All they got to do is tune in onto our website, helpingseniors.org. They can see all the stuff we've done. It's all archived. All of our programs about getting information out to people, it's all there. Before you were here this morning, I did a show with Dennis Van Orsdale, who is the Veterans Services Officer for Brevard County for Veterans Affairs. We have 67,000 veterans in Brevard County. We have 255,000 people over age of 55. But we don't tell is all the widows and spouses of veterans who in many cases are eligible for assistance. I spoke to a group of Harris retired employees. 2 women came up to me after I spoke to the people. There were over 100 people at the lunch. These 2 women were living on $800 a month Social Security and food stamps. They both were unmarried spouses of World War II veterans. They both were eligible for the aid and attendance program.
And they didn't know?
It was just like doubling their income.
Wow.
So, but how do they find out about that information? I can only speak to so many groups. I think, whether people want to believe it or not, there is still a market for the newspaper. And that market, in many cases, are low-income people, people that don't have the assets to get out and pay for the more expensive newspapers. Simply don't. When people are breaking pills in half to live, or they're living on food with a very low nutritional diet just to make ends meet, Hometown News is delivered to their driveway and they read it.
Yes.
And the content of your paper helps people.
Well, thank you. Hometown News does pride ourselves on being able to offer our paper to our readership for free. We do that through the advertising revenue that our sales staff brings in. So therefore, all of the information that we publish in our paper is free to the public.
I'll have to talk to you more. I'll find out more about what Hometown News can do for us. I want to stick to some of the questions here. One of the things I wanted to ask you, what have been some of your most challenging experiences as a newspaper reporter?
It just kind of depends on the time of year. During the summer, there isn't a whole lot going on, so news sometimes tends to dry up at certain times of the year, and then other times of the year, being the holidays, people have a story for everything. So unfortunately, we are very small staffed in our editorial department, so we're not always able to get to everything. So that's been a challenge. But some of the most challenging aspects of being a reporter would have to be the more gut-wrenching stories that I've had to cover. Murders about parents, unfortunately, taking anger out on their children, just injustices within the community. I wrote a story about a little girl who was bullied to the point of suicide. There have been very heartbreaking stories, unfortunately, that I've covered, and for me, that's been the biggest challenge.
You covered a story of a girl that committed suicide about 2 years ago?
I've covered several different suicides in the
I'm not
county.
going to mention names. You probably know the one I'm talking about. In fact, I too became very closely involved with that family, and the brother is a smart young man, and I've been helping him do something.
Oh, good.
So, it's a very small world, Amanda. You're a reporter. I never met you until we came here today. I find out your father is the chairman of the board of directors of the organization I started 20-some years ago. I didn't know that.
Yep.
But this is what's so wonderful, folks, about information, awareness. There's so many things that go on in our community that we don't know about it until we talk to people.
Right.
And I think that's really important. So, but a hometown news, it's a weekly newspaper. What is the real purpose of a hometown or a weekly newspaper? What do you say are some of the goals?
I say almost a benefit to a weekly newspaper is the time that reporters are able to spend on a story. I don't have to crank something out later that day to make deadline. I have several days to sit down and speak with people about things. I get a little bit more time to do research. So I say that the quality of the stories sometimes is a little bit greater than something that's just a news brief and thrown out there really quickly. It's harder for us to cover breaking news because we are a weekly, but we are able to go and kind of dive deeper into the story.
Well, I've followed hometown news over the years, and you've got many very timely stories in there.
We do our best to be as timely as possible.
Yeah, yeah. I think after having this talk with you, I think once I have your email, I might be able to feed you some topics.
I would really appreciate that.
I'm serious because, I know the value of information. The federal government, under the Affordable Health Care Act, has just released $157 million that they're going to put into 44 programs across the United States. And these will be a 3-track program. 1-track awareness, 1-track navigation, and 1-track alignment, meaning that for an organization could say go for a $1 million 5-year award to provide information about services, about how to connect social needs with individual needs to preclude medical care, hospital care. In other words, it's a new way to try to drive down the cost of care. The other part of it is what they call navigation. It's just like they had the navigators to go walk through the getting insurance for people under the Affordable Health Care Act. These navigators will help people get to assets that are already in the community. They simply don't know about the assets. Then the third part of it will involve alignment, and that's a bigger thing. It involves actual placement, and small organizations have a hard time doing small nonprofits. This would probably involve tasking with Medicaid and with a hospital. We are working with 2 hospitals right now to get a grant in because our little organization, Helping Seniors, has actually been doing the awareness track and the navigation track since 2011. In 14 months, we had 524 documented cases of how we help people get service.
That's excellent.
Well, that's important.
Of course it is.
Because those 524 people didn't have to go and have extra stress levels placed on them, where they went into care, different kinds of care systems that were not necessary. But Hometown News is willing to promote programs like that. They have my column in there, and I am able to talk to people. And I think that's what a local paper does. It talks to people that need the information. As a reporter, how do you think that we could improve something like that? What could we do better?
To talk to our readership more?
Talk to our readers, get people to understand that Hometown News is a source of information that they wouldn't normally think about.
I think a way to be able to spread the word that we're a good source of information is making sure that our content stays appealing to readers, making sure that we're providing all of the most up-to-date information, that we have as many resources as possible for people to go back and research. If there's something that does spark their interest, we want to make sure that we also stay on the same level as all of our readers. We don't want to appear above our readers. We don't want our business to seem superior. We want to be, your hometown friend. We want to be neighbors.
You said hometown friend?
Yes.
That's what you said. That's a good way to describe it. Because Hometown News reaches people that would qualify for Medicaid. That would it's have to be 65 or more or disabled to qualify for Medicare. But Medicaid is a whole different thing.
Medicaid is different.
And no matter how much we talk about it, people still don't understand the difference between Medicare and Medicaid.
Oh, there are many differences.
Yeah. Do you? You're a young person, but a reporter, and you have a good educational background, and you're writing. And you're do you do investigative type reporting too?
That is my favorite thing to do, actually. I enjoy investigative reporting, especially in like the crime section. I actually wanted to go to law school, and then I decided that another 3 years of school just wasn't for me. Although my test scores on the LSAT were excellent, I just wanted to get into the workforce. So I really do enjoy investigating and looking into things a little bit deeper instead of just looking at a press release and turning it around.
After the show today, I'm going to get your card because I definitely have some topics to give to you.
Good.
Because, I think that we have so many wonderful programs in Brevard County, and you publicize them in Hometown News. Programs like Meals on Wheels. They feed a lot of people. But there are more people that need the service that are not made aware of. They know about it, but they can't get it.
Yeah, they don't know how to go about it. And that's where we step in. We like to provide all of that information. Oh, you need to go ahead and get in touch to have delivery to your house. Here are the numbers to call. You don't have a phone that works? Well, here is a website, and here are several local libraries around you if you don't have a computer at home that have internet access that you can go to.
I don't know the answer to this. I got to ask you, is Hometown News on the web?
Yes, we are. We are at www.hometownnewsol.com.
How long have you been on the website?
Oh, ever since I can remember. I'm not entirely sure, though.
I read the paper, but I never thought about looking at the website.
We are online. The online edition, we're very lucky in the fact that you can actually view it as if you were turning the pages on the paper.
Okay.
It's a very cool interactive feature.
And that's another assumption people make about senior citizens, Amanda. They think the senior citizens do not use the internet.
Oh, they do.
They do use it.
They do. My grandparents are on Facebook.
Yeah. But when we were in our former location, we taught computer classes for senior citizens.
That's a good thing.
And Kay was completely booked up, and we had two gentlemen that came in and helped teach the classes.
That's good.
Which is extremely important.
Of course.
You don't expect the people to become computer programmers or anything like that, but still, every person that has access to and avails themselves of that opportunity for access to newspapers like Hometown News, whether it's picking the paper up and reading it or whether it's on the website, is extremely important to disseminating information. And that's why newspapers were created.
Yep.
For information.
Of course.
But at the same time, newspapers have to make a profit. They make a profit through their advertising.
Oh, we do. Since we are a free newspaper, we don't charge people to have delivery or anything like that. It is all through advertising dollars.
It all comes out of advertising. So I don't understand how you can produce a paper like Hometown News, the quality that it is, and not charge for it, and then other newspapers that are daily newspapers that charge high rates now are going out of business.
I know, and I just attribute that to our highly successful staff. We're very, very talented. We have a bunch of wonderful people working for us, and our executive team is very, very talented as well.
With so many shut-in seniors in Brevard County, how do you think that you as a reporter working for a weekly newspaper like Hometown News could do more to help shut-ins and seniors be aware of the many benefits that are available in the community they simply don't know about? How can we encourage people to read the paper more? Have we all think about that? You did talk about it in your staff meetings?
We always try and figure out ways to spread the word of Hometown News throughout Brevard County. We do sponsor different events that happen. So typically we'll have booths at those events with our staff there, passing out papers, talking to people within the community. But we also have the website, and we have Facebook and Twitter, and that's another way that we reach people to let them know about what we're doing within the community. It's very important with so much going on in Brevard County to be able to reach everyone.
Yeah, is there any way you can measure the age of readers, or like a geriatric or youngsters reading a paper? Is there any
I've actually been very surprised. When I started working at Hometown News, I figured that our audience was mostly senior citizens, and I do believe that makes up a vast majority of our readers. However, I'm involved in the Junior League of South Brevard and several other organizations, and I was very surprised how many younger people under 40 were reading our newspaper, even people in their 20s and 30s. I was very, very surprised. So we do have a good readership of all ages.
Yeah, I need to take just a harder look at the content of what you all are putting in there, because I think some of the most beneficial feedback to a paper like a weekly newspaper would be from people like me that are involved with senior citizens. For instance, Brevard County does not have an aging plan. There is nothing printed, and we have 255,000 senior citizens in Brevard County. Yet nothing on a piece of paper to say, here's what we think we need. People make the mistaken assumption that when you talk about an aging plan, you're talking about how many thousands of dollars you're going to throw into the plan. See, many counties have what they call a county nursing home. They pay for a nursing home. Brevard County doesn't do anything like that. Nothing. They get out scot-free. So for years, I've been an agitator to try to get the county to do more for seniors. We do something. And right now, Brevard County probably has the lowest veteran homeless population in the state. Our homeless people have done a better job of getting our veterans out of the woods and into homes.
That's good.
And it's people like John Farrell at Daily Bread, Rob Cramp at Housing for Homeless, but they need to come to Hometown News and tell their story.
Yes.
Because Hometown News reaches the people that are affected by the homelessness, by the fact they don't have enough food to eat. They don't have nutritional meals. There's just so many problems.
Yes, and we want to hear from those organizations. Everyone has a story to tell, and there's no such thing as a stupid story. Come to us with your ideas, pitch them. We want to hear them, and we want to be able to help our readership in our community.
If somebody has an idea about a story or something they'd like to get to Hometown News, how do they do it, Amanda?
They are more than welcome to call our office. Our number is 321-242-1013. Just ask to speak with editorial, and our office manager will direct you back to us.
Do you get many people calling in?
We do. We do.
Oh,
We get quite a few phone calls. We also get a lot of emails. We get traffic through our Facebook page. Sometimes when we're out in the community and people recognize us, people will be like, I have a story for you. So we listen to them and we go from there.
How many nut calls do you get? Do you get a lot of nut calls?
We've had a few, but we get a lot of really, really positive feedback from the community. Those are only like scattered.
How many reporters do you have?
We have 2, myself, and then we just hired a new staff writer, Brittany Mulligan.
So you have 2 full-time staff
Two
writers?
full-time staff writers, and then we also work with several freelancers on an as-needed basis.
Do you know, we're just about out of time, but do you know how many people you have there like me that contribute columns?
I want to say we have about 5 people who contribute columns throughout the year.
I feel very honored to have a column in there.
We're very honored to have you.
I'm gonna try very hard to make sure they're gonna column. We're out of time.
Thank you so much for having me.
I've enjoyed having you, and I thank you, viewers, for watching today's episode of Helping Seniors, and I hope you learned a little bit more about our weekly newspaper, Hometown News. Give them a call. I'm Joe Steckler. Thank you for joining our program today. I'd like to remind you that our senior information line is available to you at 321-473-7770. There you can get help and direction that could be helpful for your specific situation or circumstances. The work of helping seniors is very important, but we can't do it alone. That is why our sponsors here in Brevard County are so important. I'd like to thank our many area sponsors, businesses and medical providers who support the mission of helping seniors that help us carry the cost of our media efforts. If you'd like to join us either as a business partner or simply donate as an individual, we would welcome your call at 321-473-7770. You are always welcome to visit our website at www.helpingseniorsofbrevard.org. Thanks so much for your help. It does make a difference.